Montreal staged the only Grand Prix of '99 in North America, the Canadian Grand Prix, round 6 of the Formula One World Championship. After Barcelona, Michael Schumacher had taken the lead in the Drivers' Championship with 30 points from Mika Häkkinen with 24 and Eddie Irvine 21. Ferrari led the Constructors' Championship with 51 points from McLaren's 36. Michael Schumacher, though, took his first pole position of the season at Montreal ahead of Mika Häkkinen, with Irvine and Coulthard on row 2 and Rubens Barrichello and Heinz-Harald Frentzen fourth in the championship there on row 3. Giancarlo Fisichella, who'd finished second at Montreal in 1998, was on row 4, with Jean Alesi, a winner at Montreal in 1995 for Ferrari. Trulli and Herbert were on row 5. On row 6, Alexander Wurz, fourth at Montreal in 1998 after a bad crash on the very first lap. Alex Zanardi outqualified Ralf Schumacher for the first time, and Damon Hill, who won Montreal in 1996 for Williams, was on row 7. On row 8, Olivier Panis, who'd crashed at Montreal 2 years before, along with Jacques Villeneuve. Welcome home for him, the French-Canadian, back on home territory. Ricardo Zonta, appearing in only his second Grand Prix, back at BAR after injury. And for Arrows and Minardi's, places on the last 2 rows of the grid. 3.089 seconds covered the grid from Michael Schumacher back to Marc Gené. Once the lights were out and the race underway, Michael Schumacher away quickly from the front row, right across the bows of Mika Häkkinen, who then had to fight off a strong challenge from Eddie Irvine down to the first corner. Behind that group, chaos. Jarno Trulli spinning into Rubens Barrichello and Jean Alesi. Trulli was out of the race, so too was Alesi, and Rubens Barrichello could only limp back to the pits, as could Alexander Wurz. Alesi's car left stranded as Häkkinen and Schumacher battled it out up front. But the safety car was due out and the initial exchanges were due to be curtailed. Fisichella and David Coulthard were squabbling over fourth. Fisichella in the Benetton eventually forced to give way to Coulthard before the end of the first lap. A replay of the start showed just where the trouble started. Trulli going off the circuit and spinning into Barrichello and collecting Alesi. And Alesi eventually crawling to a halt. Alexander Wurz was the man who limped back to the pits just ahead of Rubens Barrichello. Safety car out for the first time. Michael Schumacher tried to keep some heat in his tyres. Barrichello went into the pits and emerged with a Stuart Ford covered in black tape. When the race was back underway, wasn't long before Ricardo Zonta, only his second Grand Prix and his first back after injury, was forced into retirement. He became a victim of sliding into the wall, the left-hander leading back onto the start-finish straight. With his right rear gone, there was no option for him. No problems though for Michael Schumacher. He was keeping Mika Häkkinen at bay. Gap remaining quite constant at around about 2.5 seconds. Alex Zanardi for Williams not enjoying the best of seasons. He had a few excursions off the track. Safety car out again while they removed Zonta's car. Closed up the leading pack while Alesi and Prost had a civilised discussion about Trulli's tactics into the first corner. Pace car pulled off, the race was underway again, and once more it was Michael Schumacher with the fastest lap of the race so far, making sure that Mika Häkkinen stayed back in second place. Damon Hill trailed to a halt. Another victim, sliding round the left-hander back onto the start-finish straight and colliding with the wall. For Damon Hill, yet another question mark over his Formula One future, which he answered in the week following the race. Barrichello retired from the Grand Prix. Michael Schumacher suddenly found that his lead was being cut by Mika Häkkinen, as Häkkinen set the quickest lap of the race so far. Herbert, the first of the front runners into the pits. Scheduled stop taking 9.5 seconds. back markers began to play a part. Michael Schumacher delayed on the circuit by the Prost, losing half a second on his previous lap to Mika Häkkinen, charging hard in pursuit. And trying to put the distance back between himself and Häkkinen, Michael Schumacher made an uncharacteristic mistake. From leading the race, he was suddenly into retirement. Schumacher finishing his Canadian Grand Prix at the same point that Damon Hill had gone as well. Slips out of the picture there, and suddenly the rear wheel is in to the wall, and the damage is terminal, which left Mika Häkkinen as the front runner. Another Schumacher in trouble, but this time the results weren't quite as disastrous. Häkkinen up front, Coulthard in second place, Irvine in a McLaren sandwich. Out went Villeneuve. Villeneuve, the third world champion to crash out on the same point of the circuit. Disappointment for VAR, still without a point in Formula One. Villeneuve, the impact heavier as he went in with the front right making contact with the wall first. Fisichella, pit stop for him at the same time as Heinz-Harald Frentzen. They were now squabbling over second place. Deniz into the pits. Häkkinen out. Irvine in the pits too. The pressure not on the pit crews because the safety car was out because of the incident with Villeneuve. Coulthard came in for a stop and came out of the pits just behind Eddie Irvine. Behind the pace car, the race leader Mika Häkkinen. At the rear of this road train, Eddie Irvine in the Ferrari and David Coulthard in the McLaren. As the race was underway again, Coulthard was anxious to get past Irvine. Contact was inevitable. The pair of them spun out onto the sand and gravel. Irvine was the first to get going again. Coulthard eventually restarted. Coulthard went into the pits and dropped down to 10th place. Irvine was still going in 8th. An incident which only stirred up the antagonism between the two after comments made by Irvine earlier in the week. Panis and Badoer were enjoying their own battle over the penultimate place. The oncoming Fisichella was pushed aside by Panis, which allowed Frentzen through to second. An action which cost both Badoer and Panis 10-second stop-and-go penalties. Irvine, meantime, took on Herbert for 5th and just made it. A remarkable charge through the field by the Ferrari driver. And he wasn't finished. He went past Ralf Schumacher for 4th. He was closing on the top 3 when Frentzen went out after colliding with the tyre wall. Häkkinen finished the race under the safety car. Frentzen limped away. Is Jordan a mangled wreck? So it remained Häkkinen first, with Fisichella second and Irvine third, up to the checkered flag. Delighted Häkkinen took the 10 points for the win in the race. Fisichella was second, Irvine third, Ralf Schumacher fourth, Johnny Herbert 5th and Pedro Diniz 6th. The first time a Formula One race is finished behind the safety car. Mika Häkkinen the winner and going into first place in the Drivers' Championship with 34 points. Michael Schumacher second with 30, Eddie Irvine 25. Heinz-Harald Frentzen and Giancarlo Fisichella with 13 each, David Coulthard and Ralf Schumacher with 12 apiece. In the Constructors' Championship, Ferrari lead with 55 to McLaren's 46. But Häkkinen took the accolades. His first win at Canada and only his second finish in 8 Grand Prix at Montreal. Others who played a major part in a dramatic race included Heinz-Harald Frentzen, eventually classified 11th. But Michael Schumacher, Damon Hill and Jacques Villeneuve all crashed out at the same point of the circuit. Mika Häkkinen had to teach Giancarlo Fisichella a little Formula One etiquette. Häkkinen, the winner in Montreal.
It was excellent race, definitely, and I was very pleased about the way the race was going in early stages. Anyway, when Michael was leading, because I was comfortable with the car, and I was just able to go quicker if I wanted to, but there was no reason for it because the level of risk what could have happened, and then I saw Michael going off, and I don't know exactly what happened, but turned up to be very, very good for me. That's racing, and here I am, won the race, great feeling.
Fisichella, second, 2 years running at Montreal.
I am so pleased about the result today, and my target was to score some points, and I am on the podium. I am the second position. That is great.
Irvine third after that tangle with Coulthard.
We were side by side through the first corner, but he went very, very wide, and then I just took the next one, and he just clipped my rear wheel and spun me, and then it got fun. You know, it was after Barcelona.
Fun for Irvine and for the crowd. A great win for Mika Häkkinen. Next, it's back to Europe and the French Grand Prix.